Ladies and gentlemen, please unmute yourself. All, please unmute yourself just for a second. And I request all of you try to laugh out loud with me. Good evening, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and dear guests. A very warm welcome to meeting number 73 of the Gabbys International Toastmasters Club. I'm Sunil Gupta, your Sergeant Arms for today's meeting. As the Sergeant Arms of the meeting, I want to maintain decorum and discipline in the meeting. For this, I have some guidelines for you. Please try to follow up them. The meeting is allocated 2 hours time. And I want all of you to stay for the entire duration to get maximum benefit out of it. I also request all of you to keep your cameras on and audios off. However, you can turn on your audio when you are called to speak or you need to speak. Regarding the topics of sex, religion, and politics, even though Toastmasters International doesn't put any restriction on speaking on these topics, at the Gabbys Toastmasters clubs, we request all the speakers and role takers to be mindful and responsible and abstain from expressing any controversial views on the sensitive topics. Our club mission is to provide a positive and supportive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop their communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. I hope you all will try to follow up these guidelines and help me. Now, let me call upon the presiding officer of the meeting, Toastmaster Jaspreet Kaur. Toastmaster Jaspreet Kaur is a posh and POXO trainer who helps to build inclusive workplace. She is also a communication and workplace soft skills coach. Apart from this, she is a CBSE English faculty who has so far helped more than 2,000 students as the board examinations. Currently, he is serving as the president of the club, the Gabbys International Toastmasters Club. Now, let me share some experience, my experience with you. According to me, she is the person, she is the Toastmaster, she is the member of the Gabbys who always understands the importance of the role or the responsibility given to her. She takes every role, every responsibility very seriously and gives her full effort and attention. So please put your hands together and welcome the presiding officer of the meeting, Toastmaster Jaspreet Kaur. Over to you, Toastmaster Jaspreet.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sunil. And I would say keep on, giving this big round of applause to Toastmaster Sunil for being the Sergeant at Arms and starting the meeting in the way he every time does. And now I would like to just share something about him. He is one person, when he starts speaking, I am all ears. What is he going to talk about me today? God knows where all he observes us and what all he does. But then thank you, Sunil, for doing that. At least you give a lift up to my ego a lot when you start off. And another thing is, thank you really very much for converting Gabby's Toastmasters Club to a laughter club today. The way you started, you gave a dose of laughter. So thank you very much for doing that. I think at this point of time of the day, for us, it is 7 p.m. over here, through with our work and all. So this is one relaxation dose that you've given us to start the meeting. So thank you really very much for doing that. So with this, I declare meeting number 73 of the Gabbys International Toastmasters Club to order. And I welcome all Toastmasters, visiting Toastmasters, and guests among us today. And now, yes, so where Yogita left, I'll pick it up from there now. I would want you people to give a quick 30-second intro about yourself. So, Subhadra, are you there? Can you unmute? Can you come up on camera?
Good evening, everybody. I am a Toastmaster who belongs to district number 121. I think it is Awesome Toastmasters Club. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of the club because I'm a sleeping member of that club at present. I attend now and then, but I attend more Gabbys Toastmasters Club meetings than my own club meeting because it is more convenient. And I love listening to all the speakers. That's the reason why I'm here. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Subhadra, for sharing that. Now we have somebody by the name of Giulia. Am I pronouncing the name correctly? Giulia Zeni. Are you there? Can you unmute? No. So, Pallavi Agarwal.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I'm CA Pallavi Agarwal from Lucknow. And I have recently joined Toastmaster Club of Tissue. And I always love to join Gabbys. So I am now try to join all the Gabbys meeting. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so very much. Shivani Bhatia. So you did give a brief intro, Shivani, if you could give now, because we have more members who have joined in.
Good evening, everyone. This is Shivani, and I'm a Toastmaster for last few years, you can say. And yeah, I'm Indian but living in Mauritius, so it's pleasure to join you and learn from all of you today.
All right. Thank you very much. Chandra Yusuf, today you joined the meeting right in the beginning. So something you want to say about the meeting, about yourself, because Chandra is a regular guest at the Gabbys meetings. Chandra, if you could say something very quick, 15 to 20 seconds.
Oh, yes, I'm a regular guest, and I always love coming to Gabbys because I always learn something from here. So I'm very happy to be here with you now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you very much for keeping that trust in us. Thanks a lot. And if I missed out anyone, then I'll catch up towards the end of the meeting. Now let's get going with the meeting. Now, for the guests or even the new Toastmasters, we have not many Toastmasters, people joining in the Toastmasters fraternity every now and then. So just very few facts about Toastmasters. We all know it was started by Dr. Ralph C. Smedley in the year 1924. Now, something I was just trying to scroll through, something which we may not know. So I came across this very funny fact that when they started with Toastmasters in 1924, what happened was the biggest fear at that time wasn't public speaking. Can you guess what was the biggest fear? To remember the names. Because they did not have this liberty what we have right now of having the names in front of us. So that happened to be the biggest fear for them. And you know what they did? What they did to remember the names, they used to write because mid-speech, in the middle of your role, if you forget the name, so they used to pass chits to one another to remember the names. All right. So today, if you forget somebody in a offline meeting, if you forget the name, and instead of the name, you say Mr. Grammarian, Miss Grammarian, Miss Accounter, don't worry. Be very happy because you are keeping that 100-year-old tradition alive. So this was really very interesting. I thought, let's share it. So with this, that positivity, that spirit, because see, we don't need to pass chits today. But yes, that positivity of Toastmasters, we can keep alive. And at Gabbys, we try to do that. 3 clubs, 1 family, meeting thrice a week, trying to re-innovate, evolve, and fine-tune ourselves with every meeting. And one very important announcement for all the members of the Gabbys, latest development that has come up or we've decided is the Gabbys newsletter, which will be released very soon. So all of you who want to give your articles, your any kind of write-up, or you want to help in anything whatsoever, do come up. And the person, the point of contact will be Toastmaster Renu Kaushal, who will officially be the editor of the newsletter. She'll be heading the editorial board of the newsletter. So please connect with her, give your write-ups, help her in whatever manner that is possible. Now, our Thursday meetings, very special because we have our special guest for that meeting. But yes, that the Toastmaster of the day will do. I will not do. And the Toastmaster of the day is Toastmaster Yogita Upadhyay, the Vice President Education of Gabbys International Toastmasters Club, very aggressively working towards the progress of the club. And I think, in the middle of the night also I drop a message, Yogita, this is a problem that has come up, and Yogita has a solution for that. So she's that kind of a member in our team, which we really, love connecting to. And another thing about her is, when I read about the theme for today's meeting, I was not aware who's the Toastmaster of the day. And when the poster came up, Winnie the Pooh, Toastmaster of the day, Yogita. I was like, why did even I have a doubt? Because she's the one who comes up with these great, weird ideas. But then, yes, these weird ideas are what keep us alive. So over to you, Toastmaster Yogita Upadhyay. Take the meeting further ahead. Tell us about the structure, about the speaker, and about your theme, and the fun that you're going to splash across the meeting today. So over to you, Toastmaster Yogita Upadhyay.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Jaspreet Kaur, the president of Gabbys International Toastmaster Meeting and the presiding officer for the day. Can we have a round of applause for her, please? Good evening, everyone. How are you all? Well, no response is a response, and I take
Good.
you all. Okay, welcome to today's Toastmasters meeting, where we will embrace the wisdom and whimsy of a lovable, honey-loving bear, Winnie the Pooh. Now, before you worry, the Toastmaster Jaspreet was mentioning about a special guest and education session. Or what is she talking about? Now, do we have to listen to her blabbering? Or we are here for the session? Don't worry. We are
like your Toastmasters meeting today will have a
we are here for my Gemini also stood up. Oh, what's happening? Nonetheless, so before you worry, let me tell you, we have an educational session. And before you say, I don't watch cartoons, I don't know anything about Pooh, it's fine, it's okay. You don't need to know his world because his lessons, they're extremely simple, sweet, and surprisingly deep. Let me introduce you to some of his closest friends, and you tell me, who do you feel like today? What is your vibe for the day? So I'll just introduce 4 of his friends and you decide what's your vibe. So Pooh, my dear Toastmasters, is a very easygoing. He finds joys in simple things and he's always hungry. Okay. His friend Piglet is nervous, but surprisingly very brave. His another friend Tigger, he's overloaded with energy all the time and he's optimistic by default. Whatever happens, whatever is the cause, whatever is the case, he's always optimistic. And one more of his friend, which I admire, is Eeyore. He's a little gloomy donkey, but he's deeply loyal. Now raise your hand or shout out, who's your spirit animal today? Don't tell me, is it only me who's
Can we
excited
have
about
a mixture of 2? I cannot stick with one. I would want to be a mixture of Pooh and Tigger.
Okay, Tigger and Pooh. Oh wow! So you also like to find fun and simple moments, and you are also always energetic. All right. Okay, let's
Can
keep
we
it
Pooh?
moving. Can I have a few more responses. Don't worry, I'll definitely hand over to the education speaker.
Yogita, for me, it's Pooh.
For you,
Winnie
it's
the Pooh. Yes.
okay. Sree Lakshmi, I get that vibe from you because whenever we connect, even after the meetings or something, I find, yeah, she has some wisdom to share, but she speaks very less. She finds happiness in little joys, in doing the roles she does. She takes every role so much. She is engrossed in the role. She strategizes, researches, and then she comes up with a very nice, enthusiastic take for the days. Like if she's a table topic master, very nice topics. If she's a TMOD, a different theme. So yeah, Sree Lakshmi, I acknowledge that fact about you. Okay.
Sometimes I feel like Winnie the Pooh, sometimes the piglet, and sometimes the trigger. Now today I am in the trigger mode.
All right, Subhadra, let that energy keep coming, and I hope we'll keep it rolling throughout the session without waiting for any of your responses, because I'll keep this discussion on, and you can let me know what is your spirit animal. Let me quickly introduce to the generic Toastmaster session. A generic Toastmaster session has 3 segments: the speakers, and then we have the table topic segment, and then we have the evaluation segment. But since it's Thursday, we have an educational session since we have been having from quite a long time now. And let me quickly introduce you to the educational speaker of the day. Our educational speaker of the day is Toastmaster Robert Killen. He is a master storyteller whose journey spans roles as an artist, banker, author, non-profit leader, and more. You name it, and Toastmaster Robert has something for you in that genre. A Toastmaster since 2005, he has reached the finals of World Championship of Public Speaking in 2007. Like, I dream of going that level. And now lives in Florence, where he helps people unlock the power of the stories to inspire, connect, and lead. He is going to guide us on how to unveil the stories that are somewhere within us. But how do we make the best use of those stories? How do those stories make the best speeches so that we get us level ahead in our speaking journey? Toastmaster Robert is going to guide us. He will be timed for today's session, and the timer for today's session is Toastmaster Prasad Ghumare. I'll just tell about the specifics of the timing. Please show the timing cards as per the timing, Toastmaster Prasad. For 30 minutes, you will show the green card. For 35 minutes, you will show the yellow card. And for 40 minutes, you will show the red card. Toastmaster Prasad, he has recently joined us, and he is a very quick learner about things. If I have to say something about him, if you have the right words to motivate him, he is completely passionate about that. He does his best in bringing that role to life. He's passionate about computers, physics, maths, and astrophysics. He belongs from Bhusawal and is pursuing his BTech currently in AI and machine learning. Toastmaster Prasad, I hope you have noted the timing. I'll give you to explain about the role in the second half. For now, I hope we are clear with the timings. We also have a 10 minutes of question answer round for after the education session speaks. So please keep your notebooks ready, keep your pens ready, mark your questions, and let's make this session a success. Over to you, Toastmaster Robert.
Thank you, Toastmaster Yogita. So I'd like you to imagine you're me and think about how you would feel in this situation. You made a series of choices, and as a result of those choices, your best friend was forced to sacrifice herself to save your life at great cost to her. What do you feel? I'll tell you right now, I felt enormous guilt. My best friend, her name was Rusty. We went everywhere together. She agreed to take me anywhere I want to go and always saw that I could come home safely. She wasn't classically beautiful, but in my eyes, she was as beautiful as a 1972 Volkswagen bus could be. She was my best friend for several years. But unfortunately, our friendship faltered in the winter of 1986. It was midnight, little after midnight, and we'd just gotten gas and were sitting at the road, and I had a choice to make. Do I turn right and go to my parents' house, which was just a few minutes away, or do I turn left and head up over the mountains to the little coastal village that I lived in at the time? Well, I just started a new job and didn't want to be late the next day. And I decided, well, I think I want to go home. I think I want to go over the hills. And I could hear Rusty shudder, right? She wasn't very excited about that idea, but she accepted it. I turned left and we headed on up the road. It was a really quiet, cold night. It was just a couple days before Christmas. And the road was pitch black. There was nobody else on it. And not too long into that trip, I started to get tired. So, as most people do when you get tired, I started slapping myself in the cheek. I don't know if you've ever done that, driving and slapping yourself in the cheek to keep yourself awake, but that wasn't very helpful. So I decided to turn on the radio, but all I could get was white noise, and ironically, white noise is used to put people to sleep, so that didn't help at all. So getting up toward the top of the hill, I decided to roll down the window to get some fresh air, but it was so bitter cold that my eyes started to water. And so now I was tired and mostly blind. So that didn't help either. So I rolled the window back up, headed down the hill, and this hill now was just really calm. I was going back and forth under these trees, and it was so sleepy. The next thing I notice is I wake up in a start on the wrong side of the road. I pull us back into the correct lane, and I know I should stop, but I didn't. I didn't stop. I thought to myself, well, I can probably make it. And then seconds later, same thing happened. I'm on the wrong side of the road. I pull myself back in, and now I know, okay, I've got to stop. This is stupid. But then I passed by a little tiny green sign on the side of the road that let me know I was only 1.5 miles from Tillamook, the town that I needed to get to. If I could make it 1.5 miles, I could make it home. Well, the next thing I remember was being surprised that I was lying in my childhood bed, and the moon was casting this beautiful blue liquid light into my bedroom, which was oddly clean. The only thing in the room was my fish tank, which was beautifully glowing. And outside the windows were rhododendrons, these large bushy flowers that were tapping against the windows. And the tapping got louder and louder and louder and kind of violent. And then I started worrying about the bushes breaking the windows. And that's when I woke up, facing a tree on the side of the road. So I pulled us out into the road, and Rusty and I start dancing back and forth. And as much as I love Rusty, she was not built to dance. And every time we got closer to the far side of the road, that far edge, I got worried. Every time a little bit closer to that cliff and a raging river below it. Eventually, we got so close that I said a little prayer into the void. I just said, please, no. And the void whispered back, yes. So one last time, we're heading to the far side of the road. I yank us back, and Rusty trips. And she falls over herself, plowing her left temple into the pavement, and the windshield pops out, and I get this shower of sparks, warm, beautiful sparks, and then nothing, blackness. I couldn't feel anything, even though we were cartwheeling down the cliff off the boulders and bones were breaking. My face was cut up, but I couldn't feel anything. All I felt was the seatbelt across my chest. Felt like Rusty's arm holding me. And I didn't see or hear anything through all of this violence except 3 words in my left ear. I've got you. And the next thing I know, I had this flash of iced lightning, and I realize I'm waist deep in water, really cold, bitter water. After a couple of failed breaths, I realize I'm actually upside down in really cold, bitter water and stuck, hanging with no way to get out. But Rusty, she had me. She turned herself upstream and leaned over onto the driver's side, settling down on this narrow ledge that didn't seem to be big enough to hold her, but it just did. And once she settled, I was able to lean up, gasp for breath, unhook my seatbelt, and climb out the now vacant windshield back up to the rest of my life. But that's not the end of the story. Because as I mentioned at the beginning, the guilt was palpable. The guilt got to me. Because Rusty wasn't just my van. She really was my best friend. The guilt I felt making those decisions and causing that result stuck with me in such a way that I framed that experience. I realized that what this accident was teaching me was that I was unworthy. I was unworthy as a human. I was certainly unworthy to drive a car. My mom had always told me, everything happens for a reason. And this happened to teach me I was unworthy. Ironically, it would be my mom who taught me that that was not the case. That comes a little later. See, 3 years went by and I didn't drive. 3 years of that guilt. Eventually, after time went by, the guilt started to dissipate and got replaced by shame. The shame of having to rely on everybody else to take me anywhere I wanted to go, including my new girlfriend. And I realized that this guilt, this concept of being unworthy wasn't working for me. And I needed to find another way forward. So I thought about the accident and thought back on Rusty and realized that I owed her. She sacrificed herself for me. I was breathing because she gave me that opportunity, and I owed it to her memory to do something with my life. And so that ended up reframing the meaning of the accident. Did it mean that I was unworthy, or did it mean that I was lucky to be alive? Well, I would find out 15 years later the answer to that question. And as I said, it was Mom who taught it to me. My mom showed up in the mid-2000s, as she did occasionally, mostly to spend time with my kids, my wife, who was my girlfriend back in the day. And we had 3 boys. And when Mom showed up this time, before she even dropped her coat, she started telling her stories. Mom had this collection of stories that she told every time she came, and she'd been telling them for 10 years. Unfortunately, all these stories had the same purpose. Each story described how she was unappreciated, misunderstood, mistreated, powerless. But this time I stopped her. After 10 years of hearing him, I kind of had enough. And I said, Mom, hold on. You've told these stories to us before. Why do you feel the need to tell them when you come here? She looked at me a little confused, but said, well, I just want people to know how bad things are. And I replied, well, I understand you've had a rough go these last several years, but I've known you since I took my very first breath. And I can think of hundreds of moments in your life where you were loved and inspiring and appreciated and powerful. How come you don't share those? And she looked at me confused and said, I don't remember any of those moments. And that's when it hit. Mom had embraced an identity. She had decided, subconsciously as much as consciously, that she was a victim. And her subconscious was acting as a filter. It was only allowing her to see the moments, to re-experience and remember the experiences from her lives that reinforced that chosen identity. And it filtered out any experiences that would contradict that. That's when it occurred to me what had happened 15 years earlier when I was able to change the meaning of my accident. See, Mom had always told me that everything happens for a reason. And then she taught me that that was not true. Things don't happen for a reason. Things just happen. And then we wrap the reason around those experiences that serve us. And it either happens consciously or unconsciously. So recognize that your stories define you, either by choice or by default, that we are defined by those stories that we wrap around our experiences that reinforce our identities. So understanding this gives us power. What I want to do today is to share with you the power that you have, that you can put to use to strengthen your own identity and then empower the messages that you want to send out into the world. In order to do that, we first have to discuss how to find these stories, these moments that you can use, and then how to shape them. So let's talk about finding the stories first. You'll notice the beach behind me. I want you to imagine that you're on a beach. You're the only person on the beach. You're walking down along warm sand with bare feet. The ocean is at your left. The mountains are to the right. And right now, you stop and you turn and face the ocean. You're listening to the sound of the waves and the gulls. You might smell a little salt in the air. And when you look back at your footprints, you see sand. And sand is made up of tiny little grains. These grains of sand are the moments of your life that you have passed by that are now largely indistinguishable from one another. You cannot remember the specific moment in time. But sitting on top of those sands is treasure. It's not very hidden, but it is hidden if we don't look at it. These treasures are the shells, the agates, the sea glass, the driftwood. These are the moments in your life that you do remember. Now, why do you remember these moments and not the moment 10 minutes before or 10 minutes after? It's because for some reason, your emotions in that moment were peaked. Your emotions were heightened. Whether positively or negatively doesn't matter. Your emotions were heightened and they triggered your senses to open up and bring in more information. So neurologically, you have more knowledge, more experiences, more sense memory of that moment in time than you did before or after it. And you've made connections to that moment in time. The beautiful thing about this is that knowing that means that any memory you have, any clear memory that you can recall, has played a role, an important role, in helping you become who you are today. And every vivid memory holds the seed of a story worth telling. Every memory, it doesn't matter how small it seems, if you can remember it, it was important. Okay, so we just have to find what's important about it. And as we just learned over here, you can reframe those experiences in any way that serve you. So the way that I use this model of finding stories, I actually developed for Toastmasters back in 2008. I'd qualified for the finals of the Table Topics contest for District 7, and I was feeling sorry for myself because I didn't feel like I had a well of stories to share. So I began noting down memories. I started pre-kindergarten. What are the first couple things I can remember in my life? And then kindergarten, then first grade, second grade. I worked all my way, all the way into high school until there were too many memories for me to remember. So then I started using other prompts, athletics, track, books, movies, music, whatever, and noting down the memories that came up. This is what I call beachcombing. It ended up becoming a skill that I just happened into, but it's a skill that serves me exceptionally well, and I'm hoping you can understand it and put it to use for yourself. It's a very simple process. As soon as you get a prompt, you've got to empty your mind of the conscious thoughts that you try to process that prompt with, and allow yourself to experience and listen to and see the memories that your subconscious brings you. That's how that process works. So if I say beach, what is the memory that comes up? And maybe there are multiple memories. What is that moment that appears for you? Okay? That's the beachcombing process. And we're going to put this to more work later on. But know that every vivid memory, every moment that your subconscious feeds you is the seed of a great story. So that's how we find the stories. Now, how do we shape them? Well, I'm going to take two different concepts for shaping stories and bring them together today. Understand that figuring out how to tell a great story, how to shape a story, is worthy of a lifetime of exploration. So two things is just one small step in the right direction, but that's what I can give you today. I'm going to be bringing together what I refer to as the magic of moments, which refers to the physical nature of experience, the magic of moments, and then the tension curve. So we'll start with the magic of moments. Back in my 8th grade year, right at the end of the year, I ran track, and I was pretty good. I had qualified for a competition, a championship, and I was running the 200 meters. I had qualified for the finals in the 200, which was a surprise because it wasn't my specialty. And I was the slowest of all the qualifiers. So there wasn't much expectation that I was going to win that race. But I went up to my coach and called him down from the stands. And I said, "Coach, what do I need to do to win this race?" And he found what I said to be funny. All right. So that is one way of sharing that situation, that narrative, the start of that story. Here's another way to share the same story. It was a really, really hot day, as you would expect in the middle of summer, summer of 1980. I I was a gangly kid, but I did run pretty fast, and I'd qualified for the final of the 200s, which wasn't my specialty, but I was excited to be there. Unfortunately, my competitors were all enormous. I was a child among giants. They were all so much bigger than me. Some of them had thighs that were bigger than me. But I wanted to do my best, so I made my way across the field, all the way across the track to the bottom of the stands, the bleachers where everybody was sitting. I found my coach up there, got his attention and called him down. And he came down and towered above me because he was still in the stands. He was my mentor, my Yoda, my Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? He was the guy that I looked up to, that I respected so much. And I asked him, Coach, what do I need to do to win? And I remember his response so clearly, because his response was laughter exploding from his face in such a way that spit sort of misted down on my face. And my heart sunk and my hope disappeared in that moment. Okay, hopefully, I don't have to ask you which of those is a more effective story. And the difference is not just more words in the second version, but it's because I shared the physical experience, the physical realities. I talked about the heat. I talked about the comparative size between myself and my competitors. I talked about spit raining down on my face. Whenever I express the moments in that story in physical terms, sensory terms, you can't help but feel it. It is how we process life, it's how we process our own experience, and it's definitely how we share experiences one person to another. The lived experience is shared through those physical realities, those physical descriptions. That's how memory is stored. All of these moments over here, all of these moments that we find that are brought to us by our subconscious when we think about a particular topic, each of those memories we think of in sensory terms because that's how they're stored. Memory is held in moments and shared through the senses. Okay, so that's the nature of these memories. How can we use them? So by sharing those sensory moments, I can bring you into my experience. But how do I keep you interested in the journey? Because stories have a journey, and that is through what I refer to as the tension curve. So this is the tension curve, and it's the basic curve of a story. It's the basic structure of any classic story. There's an exposition, which introduces the characters, and then there is a surge of tension. And I've given you that surge of tension where my coach laughed at me and pulled my heart out. Then there will be a struggle where I struggle with that tension until eventually there's a climax where it gets resolved, and then the denouement is what happens after the climax, after that resolution. So by creating tension in this surge, I force you as the listener to want to hear the rest of that story. You want to get that tension resolved. So I'll resolve that tension for you here as you look at this curve. So I'm standing below my coach, and he has just pulled my heart out, and he immediately realizes he made a mistake. He understands that I was serious, and he also knows that that laughter did not come consciously. It came unconsciously at the absurdity of my question, but he was my coach. He needed to help me improve in the matter of minutes my ability to run the 200 meters. So he gave me an instruction. He said, Robert, the only thing I can tell you is that the 200 is an all-out sprint, and you're a 400 runner, so you always start slow and think you're going to catch up at the end. You're not going to catch these guys in the end. So I took it to heart. I went to the starting line, got down in the blocks. When the gun went off, all I could see was my feet. I couldn't see anything else, just my feet. And his words, go as fast as you possibly can from the moment the gun goes off. And that's what I did. I didn't see anybody until I just came around the turn, and then my vision opened up and I thought, oh my gosh, somebody has been disqualified, and they called everybody back and I didn't know it, and I've run the entire corner on my own. But then my hearing opened up as well, and I began to hear runners. So I took a quick glance to the side, and sure enough, the rest of the heat, the rest of the finalists were all behind me. I had come out of the curve in the lead. And I fully expected them to overtake me, but it seemed as though every time they pushed forward, it was like I was surfing and they were the wave. I kept moving forward as they tried to pass me. And as my legs started to give out at the very end, I saw my coach's face laughing right above the finish line. And there was no way I was going to let this one go. I won the race. And when I went back to my coach and he came down the stands and he towered above me, he laughed again. But this time, I laughed with him. Okay. So that story talks about some struggle along the way. And then the climax, finishing, is not actually what releases the tension. Winning the race does not release the tension. Why? Because the tension wasn't caused by the race. The tension was caused by my coach laughing at me. So the tension doesn't get released until I can then, laugh with my coach as well. So when that gets resolved, the tension is resolved. So tension makes a journey irresistible. If I have you in my space through sensory language and I give you tension and I make you tense, you can't help, you can't walk away from that. It's got to get resolved, and you will be with me until I resolve it for you. That's why we can't put down a good book. That's why a movie can go by and we're absolutely, awestruck for the entire movie. It's because they're using tension to pull us through the complete story. So this is the model, right? All this together is the full model. So let's put it together so that you can empower yourself and your presentations. All right, so we'll step through the process once very quickly here, and then I'll give you one more example. So let's imagine that you want to give a great presentation about something that is important to you. Each of you are Toastmasters. You all want to improve your speaking. It's likely that many of you feel like you have something to say or would like to be able to say something to the world. What is that? What is it that you want to say? Well, here's an example for me. Maybe I want to say, don't let panic overwhelm you. Okay? Maybe that's my message. Don't let panic overwhelm you. I'm going to first use the beachcombing method to find the moments, the stories that I'm going to share, that I'm going to convert into a presentation. So when I think of panic in my life, I think of a moment when my school bus tipped over in the snow and I thought everybody died. A moment when I was on the stage in a talent show and I completely forgot the songs midway. And then a moment when I was standing on a rock over a river and thought I was going to lose my eye. Okay, those are going to be my 3 stories. Those are going to be my moments. Now, because I've learned that those moments don't have any inherent meaning, that I can give them whatever meaning I want. I'm going to shape the meaning of those moments so that they serve my purpose. Okay? So that's the first thing I'm going to do. And then I'm going to be certain to tell them with lots of sensory language so that you are in there with me, and I'm going to give you some tension to make that journey irresistible to you, to make you stick with me until I release that tension in the end. So in very short order, here's that story. I was standing on a rock above the raging Yakima River, fly fishing. And I was a relatively new fly fisherman, but I knew what I wanted to do. There was a pond, a pool on the other side of the river that had this beautiful dappled sunlight in it. And I knew that there were fish sitting in that pool, because if I was a fish, that's where I would be. So I desperately was trying to get enough line out so that I could drop a fly softly into that pool. But there was so much line out that I lost control of it, and the line started whipping wildly around, and most of it started to land in the river, except for the fly itself, which wrapped around my head and stuck right here in my eye. And all I could think in that moment was yards of fly line heading downstream that were going to pull and rip this fly across my eye. And I was panicked. But in that moment of panic, I thought about two other scenarios in my life where I had panicked in similar fashion. One was when I was in 7th grade and my bus came down a hill and ended up tipping over in the ice and snow. And when I jumped up, nobody was saying anything. Nobody was moving. I thought everybody had died, and I panicked for just a second. And then somehow I was able to set that panic aside and just ask, is everybody okay? And then I started hearing people move. And then I became the leader in that moment. I was the youngest kid on the bus, but I was the one that told one person to help another, to tell somebody to help the driver get out of her seat, to open up the back door and shepherd people down to a farmhouse. I ended up in that role. I don't know why, don't know how, but that's what happened. And then later, about 6 years later, I was on stage. I'd written a lot of music, including songs, and I was playing a song for a talent show, a song that I wrote years earlier. 30 seconds in, completely blanked out. I didn't know what note came next. And the whole audience went, and they panicked because they expected me to panic, because we're taught by watching so many movies that when that happens, the performer is supposed to get freaked out and run off stage. But in that moment, a calm came over me, and I leaned into the mic and I said, well, since I can't remember that one, I guess I'll play something else. And the audience exploded in laughter and cheering because I had let them off the hook. I'd released their panic. And thinking about that in the moment, with the fly line wrapped around my head and heading downstream, I calmly grabbed the line as tight as I could next to my face. And then I started pulling in all of the fly line off the river until I had yards of fly line smashed against my chest, and I could release the pressure, pull the hook out, and save my eye. This is an example of a type of story that can be quickly put together. If you know what you want to say, you can find the moments that you can share, and then share them with physical language, sensory language, using tension to make certain your audience stays with you. This is the process I've given you. Now, with this process, you have all the tools necessary to empower your own purpose, your own identity, and to share powerful messages with others. I hope you find inspiration, and I hope you find new tools here that you can put to use. Use these and let us know how you are going to inspire others as Toastmasters.
Can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster Robert for sharing such wonderful views, by sharing his personal stories, lessons coming from his stories. And did you all notice his background keeps changing with each lesson he's going to take forward? Thank you, Toastmaster Robert. That was an awesome session. The floor is now open for the floor is now open for questions, and I would open the chat box for next 10 minutes. Just in case if someone would like to type in chat, would not like to speak up, I'm there for you. Chat box is open for 10 minutes. You can pour in your thoughts, your feedback, or any questions if you have.
Robert,
Yes, Sunil.
yes, I got your point that we have to first remember the moments happen in our life. Okay. And by using sensory language and creating tension bandwidth, we can create a story. It might be easy for you because you are an author. Okay. So I want to know the steps, I can follow to create a story on the basis of that moment happened in my life. Suppose remember a moment that I am playing with my friends in a playground. That was a moment. I loved that moment. So now I want to create a story. So what are the steps I should follow that like first first I should use when it happened and what purpose so there are some uh, certain steps I should follow that would be easy for me to create a story.
Thank you for the question. I appreciate that. So this gets easier over time, but I would start. One thing that I didn't mention is that when I got this journal and I began this process of noting the moments that I clearly remembered, I later went back to those moments and began writing in themes that each of these moments could likely represent, understanding that I had the right and the ability, the power to reframe them, to change the meaning as it served me. So I would write, so for example, playground. So I have, you mentioned playground. I remember playing Rover Red Rover, and I wanted to break through the arms of my teacher and another classmate, a girl, and they refused to release their hands as I came through. As I ran through, they actually caught me under the chin and threw me on my back, and I passed out. So that's something, obviously, that I remember. What could I use that for? What could I could use the theme of being persistent. I could actually take their point of view and talk about persistence. I could also talk about perhaps being more strategic in my decisions and maybe not try and break through the hardest handhold. There are different. I could use that moment to make many different lessons, to create different lessons. So the first thing I would recommend is find those moments that are important to you, and then explore your own history. Why was it important for you in the moment? Can you remember why you remember it? it's hard to say, but can you remember why your emotions were heightened in that moment? There's likely a lesson or a theme in there. And then once you've decided on the theme, the message, continue to explore different memories to make sure you have the best possible memories to make your points. When I was preparing for the World Championship, one of the things that came to me in the early versions of my championship speech, I found myself putting together my favorite memories and then trying to make them fit one another. And I did a pretty good job. But eventually I realized that the story was so much stronger if I kind of let go of these things that I thought I wanted in the speech and focused on the purpose. What is it I want to say? And then I explored more fully the options, the memories, the moments that could truly communicate in the best possible way what I wanted to get across. So I just think it's really important to match your moments with your message and be really, really clear about that. Hopefully that answers your question.
Great.
I saw Bindu earlier. Bindu, did you have a question for me?
Yes, Robert. Robert, as a child, I used to really love fairy tales because I could listen to them or read them again and again. They held the same joy, the same excitement or sorrow each time I read them. I feel that was a skill that sort of gets diluted with adulthood, severely diluted. But I'm hearing this set of stories that you are reciting a second time, but believe me, it was just as charming, just as inspiring, and I really loved this set of stories. Really a true master storyteller, Robert. Kudos. I don't know how to express it, but okay, here is my question to you. Now, I believe what has come through is, you have to reflect on your stories, and maybe enacting the moment in your mind is the best way to bring out the best expression of your story. But I find the problem is when I try to do that, when I try to enact the scenario of the story in which it was created, to enact those moments, my gaze tends to go up. I've also seen it in several other people as they say stories and become passionate about it. You lose that contact with the audience. Do you have a solution for that?
So I can't say I have a solution, and I have been criticized for looking away as I'm in my own story. And it may simply be stylistic. I don't have a problem with people getting lost in their own stories as they tell them. And for that reason, I haven't worked very hard myself to make certain that I'm, focused on the camera or focused on the audience all the time. I like that people might be exploring their own thoughts during a presentation. For me, it adds an element of immediacy and perhaps instead of just saying what they were going to say, they're looking for something even better, right? So I don't consider it a problem, but I do recognize that others don't feel quite the same way. The only way I would say for me to eliminate the kind of the looking away as I'm trying to find the best next word is to have it so rehearsed that I know exactly what I'm going to say at every moment. But I'll be honest, that's not the type of presenter I am. I much prefer to give myself concepts and bullet points and scenarios that I know I'm going to be sharing, which I can remember. I don't need notes for that. And then just go with it, and so it will change. All of my speeches will change every time. If I were once again in the finals of the World Championship, I would probably write that speech out word for word, but that is the only time I would probably ever do that. Thank you for that question and for the kind words, Bindu. I appreciate it. It's great to see you here.
Can I ask a question, please, to Robert? I'm Mohini.
Hello, Mohini.
Yeah, it was wonderful listening to you. But on a personal experience note, being 80 years old, I have such fond memories of my very, very early childhood. And today it seems very strange when I think of, I have noted down these points. We had a space behind our kitchen, and my grandmother, who was so wrinkled and old, she used to enjoy a little bit in the morning and a little bit in the evening. She would sit next to the fireplace, crouched, and she would have this little pipe in her mouth, and she would puff happily on the pouch, putting the tobacco in. Today, when I tell my own nieces and grandchildren, they say, what are you talking? As if a woman will smoke a pipe in front of her. What is a fireplace, they say. So like that, I have so many different, very different things which I've personally experienced. They're very fond memories, and I do have, they're not relevant in today's world, but then that is an old world charm, which I would like to tell the little ones today, but they all seem very different in different places. How do you bring all that together as a cohesive thing and then come to with the message or something? I'm finding that very difficult. So
Yeah,
we start with the one person, and I don't know how to connect the dots is very.
Well, thank you. Thank you for that question. So it's all about creating a theme, understanding what is the theme that does connect these. So rather than finding moments that you want to share and then looking for a theme, I would go the other way around. I would say, I want to talk about this theme and then find the stories that fit. And that's what I did wrong. That's what I did wrong when I was starting my World Championship journey, is that I had these great stories that I wanted to share, but they didn't actually come together very well. And I had to abandon that and determine what it was I wanted to say first, and then work from there. But I would love to hear stories about your grandma smoking in front of the fire. I think that is wonderful.
Yeah, I have so many like that, playing in the potato fields and roasting potatoes and things like that. So, yeah, I think I would keep in touch with you for some questions later on.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mohini. Harish.
Hi.
Hello.
You can hear me? You can hear me?
We can. Yes.
Okay. My question is, what if someone has a very mundane life, life without trauma, without drama? So, absolutely, I mean, there is nothing to share. So what should we do in that case? Can we adapt someone else's story and pose it as if mine? Or so how do I go about it?
There are no rules. So if you want to come up with a fictional story, that is absolutely fine. But I used to think that I was that person, that I didn't have any drama in my life to share. I had a couple big events, granted, but I used to think that my life was, we say, vanilla. It was a pretty boring life. Especially in my early days. I lived in the same house for years and all of that. But eventually, as I went through this process of writing down the moments that I remembered clearly, I realized that each of those moments was worth telling. It was worth sharing. No matter how small it seemed, there was something, as I said earlier, there's a seed in every moment is a seed of a potential story. And so I realized that people who always have lots of great stories to share, it's not that they actually have more stories, they just know how to find them and tell them. I think we all have more stories that we can tell than we have time to tell them.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Robert. Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Harish. And I hope we have all the questions sorted for now. In case if we don't, you have my details, you have Toastmasters Jaspreet details and Sunil's details. Please feel free to share your questions to them or post the questions in the WhatsApp group, in the discussion group. We'll be more than happy to forward it to Toastmaster Robert, and he will be definitely more than happy to address those queries, and we'll circle it back to you. We can definitely ensure that how engaging this session was. So do I need to say that please can we have another round of applause for that wonderful speaker and the wisdom he has brought in our session today? We will not be having any break. Excuse me.
All right. So I guess the Toastmaster of the day was trying to say that we won't have any break. Let us give her a bit of a break so that she can have a sip of water. So we won't have any break, and we'll straight away move on to the table topic marathon now. Yogita, you fine? Can you take over?
Yeah, I can, and I'm really sorry. I just
not a problem.
All right. Nonetheless, let's not get into the details. All right, moving forward, let's not forget that we are here to discuss also about Winnie the Pooh. We cannot forget the legend. Okay, so I hope you must have now figured out who your spirit animal is. In case not, that's okay. I'll just summarize it. But okay, like those characters bring out different qualities. Today's table topic session is going to bring out our inner growth. Let's take a moment to move ahead to the table topic segment of the day. That is going to be hosted by Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi. Prior to that, I would request Toastmaster Prasad to please share his roles for timing for the table topic segment today, what his role is like. Toastmaster Prasad, the stage is yours.
Okay. I'm audible. Hello. I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible and
Yes,
visible.
yes.
Good evening. Good evening, fellow Toastmaster and guests present here. My name is Toastmaster Prasad Ghumare. I am serving as a role timer today. In Toastmaster, we value clear and concise communication, and time management plays a vital role in achieving that. As per your timer, I will be keeping your track of the time for table topic session. It is which is has a duration of 1 to 2 minutes, and prepare speeches and the speech evaluation as well, which is duration of 2 to 3 minutes. To help speakers to say within their allotted time, I will be using the traditional timing signals, such as green for when the speaker has reached the minimum limit, and yellow for when the speaker is approaching the target time, and the red card is for the when the speaker has reached their maximum time limit. As per now, the speaker are expected to wrap up their speech within 30 seconds after the red card is shown. I will report all the timings when called upon by the Toastmaster of the day. Let's keep the thing running smoothly and with on time. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Prasad, for explaining your role. And now let's move forward with Toastmaster of Table Topic Master of the Day, that is Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi. Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi carries over 14 years of professional experience in finance and tech consulting. She has built her career as a project management professional, and she is always excited to take whatever roles she is offered in Gabbys. Apart from work, she enjoys public speaking, traveling, and discovering new places. So Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi, the stage is all yours. I hope, thanks for the background. You made it so lively. You made it so nice. And I hope you all have a good time with the table topic segment and see you all to understand more about wisdom of Winnie the Pooh. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, for the warm introduction. And it's a very interesting theme. I'm all excited for the table topic session. And if anyone is not aware of this cartoon, so that's just a brief gist of this cartoon characters. Yeah, so as your table topic, so greetings fellow Toastmaster, distinguished Toastmasters and guests present here on the call today. So as your table topic master, I would be having some quick impromptu sessions and impromptu questions that you can actually attempt for like 1 to 2 minutes. So table topic is considered one of the most challenging, but it's also one of the most rewarding session in a Toastmaster meeting. So I'd encourage all the guests and the members to come forward and attempt the table topic session. So I'll actually hand over the topic once the member confirms to attempt the topic. And before moving ahead, table topic is considered to be a sort of a mini speech, which has got an opening, a body, and a closing statement. So to quickly highlight on the timing, I believe Toastmaster Prasad has already walked through, but just to clarify, we'll be having 1 to 2 minutes of time. Each speaker should qualify for a minimum of 1 minute and for a maximum of 2 minutes. And there is a 30 seconds grace time to wrap up your speech. So Toastmaster Prasad will help me with the cue cards, which is at 1 minute, it'll be the green card. At 1 minute, 30 seconds would be the show of the yellow card. And at 2 minutes would be the red card. So based on today's theme, it's going to be all fun questions and might be some questions related to the cartoon theme also. So I would encourage all of you to come forward and attempt. Could I have some volunteers to go with the first topic?
Yeah, can I try?
Sure, Toastmaster Chandra. For you, the topic would be, since we're speaking about the cartoon, so your favorite cartoon from Winnie the Pooh, favorite character from Winnie the Pooh, and why? Over to you, Toastmaster Chandra.
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the cartoon. Can you change something else?
So I would provide another question. So what makes friendship so special? What makes friendship so special? Over to you, Toastmaster Chandra.
What makes friendship so special? There are some things to make friendship special. Number one is mutual understanding. We understand each other well. We don't only expect our friend to be nice and friendly all the time. Remember, we are all human. And sometimes when we are in a bad mood, we cannot behave a friendly way. And so our friend is. So when our friend is not really friendly with me, with us, try to ignore it. Think that, oh, maybe she or he has got a problem at the moment, but he is my good friend. That's number one. Number two, we need to help each other. We don't only ask for help, but we need to help each other. Whenever my friend is in big trouble, then I will voluntarily help him or her. That is very strong. So mutual understanding, understand each other, and also, we have to love each other. Love in terms of friendship, not love between men and women, but love as a brother, as a sister. So when we can apply those three things in our friendship, the friendship would be beneficial. And there won't be any argument at all between us. If there is an argument, don't worry, because among friends, we must have any argument as well. Try to understand each other. Try to really have got a mutual understanding. And I believe we will have got a long-lasting friends like what we are doing in the Toastmasters. We understand each other, we accept each other, we are good friends. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Chandra, for attempting the topic. I mean, there are a lot of valid pointers that you mentioned with respect to friendship, because yes, I can totally relate to the points. Like in friendship, it's not just the good days, it's also the bad days, but it's like the understanding that we need to have and the mutual respect for each other and to go along the flow. Yeah, thank you so much. Prasang, I know you've actually raised your hand. So before I give you the topic, are you aware of Winnie the Pooh cartoon? Can you take up some? Okay. For you, the topic would be okay. One cartoon character you can relate to, not from Winnie the Pooh, any cartoon character.
Can you change the question because I've never watched cartoon.
Okay. Okay. How do you spread happiness? How do you spread happiness?
I think there are a lot of way to spread happiness, and I think you can get happiness while spreading the happiness and making everybody happy. And for that, you have to put kind of a lot of efforts. Like if you want to do something for others, you require to put some efforts. And since like nowadays people are busy a lot, and it goes for me also. So best way I would say that I spread happiness is that while going to office, if I see the guard at my office door, I will give a smile to the person, or the person who is sitting at the door of my office, the reception. There, I try to say hi or give a smile. And when I give a smile, I smile myself, and I also make other person smile. And I think it might look silly at first, but I think what I've realized that the more you kind of smile, the more money you get, and then more happiness you get. So that I do. I give a smile a lot to people whom I know, and sometimes to stranger also when I want to make friends, and then that's how I start a conversation with somebody. Because when when there's a random person, you can't just go and directly start talking. You just give a smile, and then other person give a smile, right? So you know that other person is kind of uh, looking interested into the conversation, and that's how I start the conversation. That is one thing, and that's how I spread the happiness. Other thing is when I'm going out and I see if there's some person needy and needs some help, either it is an old person or some person, there's a lot of people who have need outside. So I try to help from my side, whatever the help I can provide. So that, and it is not just for them; it is also for myself. Because when I help somebody, I think that gives me all happiness to me also. So when you are kind of trying to spread happiness, you're not just giving happiness to others. It is mostly you think that you are giving happiness to yourself, and that's how you keep doing it because you see your interest in this. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Prasang, for your wonderful points. I guess the one point that you mentioned with respect to, just smiling and looking at someone and just giving a smile to them, I believe that makes an entire, I mean, that actually changes the entire day for them, even though from whichever background or whichever condition they are in, I guess that actually changes the entire day for them, I guess. Thank you so much for that interesting take on the topic. Could I see any guest actually coming forward and attempting the next topic? Shivani, would you like to take the next topic?
Okay, let's go ahead.
Sure. Since no one is attempting any cartoon, have you watched a bit of cartoon? Would you like to take any topic on a cartoon?
I'm not, okay, we can try, but I'm not aware of much, but still we can try.
Got it. Favorite cartoon and why? Favorite cartoon and why?
What comes to your mind when you think about cartoons? Madam Table Topic Master and fellow Toastmasters and guests. See, when we talk about cartoons, they bring happiness. When we see cartoons, I'm not somebody who has watched too many cartoons in my life, but yes, I've heard about Winnie the Pooh and not much aware of the story behind it. But what comes to your mind when you think about cartoons? I think children, when they come back from school, the first thing they want to do is they want to switch on the TV and watch the cartoons. So what's the symbol behind? What's the reason why they want to do it? Because it brings happiness. The funny things that the cartoons they do, they perform, these little things bring smile on everyone's face, the children that who are watching. As he just said, sorry, I don't remember the name of the previous person who just delivered a table topic speech. He said happiness, because happiness is a universal language of kindness when we say about it. So when we talk about cartoons, funny things happen. You take any cartoon, the funny thing happens. So I'm not saying to become a cartoon in your life, but to bring a joy in your life, not behave like cartoons, but we as an adult stop behaving like, because our life are too serious. Otherwise, there's so much going on in our lives. So why not just do little funny things with each other and bring happiness to each other? The only moral that I would love to share over is the thing that I want to share is, at least, yes, as he just said, smile is the universal language. So do little funny things in your life. You're not too old that you cannot enjoy life. So enjoy life. That's the motto of life. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Master Shivani, for attempting a topic on cartoon. I myself used to watch a lot of cartoons, and I still resonate with a lot of cartoons, like be it Tom and Jerry or be it Winnie the Pooh. So the Pooh is one of the favorite character for me too. So yeah, thank you so much. And I need to thank the Toastmaster today for this interesting topic, and I could actually take up like a table topic session for it. So I guess I know Distinguished Toastmaster has been raising his hand for quite some time. Distinguished Toastmaster Harish, are you ready to take the next topic?
Sure. Go ahead.
Correct. Explain joy of simplicity. Explain joy of simplicity. And over to you, Distinguished Toastmaster.
Explain the joy of simplicity. I mean,
that's correct.
Topic reminds me of a Mahatma Gandhi's statement itself: simple living, high thinking. And that sums up the mantra of this topic. When you are simple, you can give your best. There are no frills attached to your personality. You are what you are. You don't have to pose as if you are someone else. That's the beauty of being simple. Simple in your thoughts and simple in your action. And when you lead that kind of life, you become a man or a person who is wanted by all. That's why they say, you can be simple, but I don't mean that you should be a simpleton. If you become a simpleton, you'll be taken for a ride. So simplicity is something which has to be inculcated. In simplicity means, like in communication itself, you don't have to show off your prowess of English vocabulary. When you have two speakers, on one hand Shashi Tharoor and other hand Sudha Narayan Murthy, I would prefer to hear Sudha Narayan Murthy, because the language is simple, something which can be related to you. Whereas the other person, I will have to refer to a thesaurus to understand what he's communicating. So simplicity always wins. Simple living, high thinking. Thank you for giving me that wonderful topic. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you so much, Distinguished Toastmaster, for attempting this topic. I know even though you're driving, you actually spoke well about it. I can very well connect to it because I believe in simple living and the simple joys of life. And those are like some of the key pointers I make sure that I just try to keep my life simple too. Could I have any other volunteer, any other guest who would like to take the next topic? Lalita, would you like to attempt the next topic? Okay.
Sure, table topic master.
Sure. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lalita, for coming on camera. Do you watch a bit of cartoons or are you aware of Winnie the Pooh theme?
Not much, but yeah, some of the cartoons. Recently, I saw Good Dinosaur movie.
Got it. So I'll just give you a simple topic. So who is your Pooh? Who is your Pooh? Just like a go-to person.
Good morning and good evening, all the Toastmasters and guests present here. We tend to keep thinking a lot of things. And when we feel we want to share something with anyone, not just the moment when we are down and we want to get some opinion, get some perspective, even when we are very happy, we feel like running to somebody and saying that, sharing it, get a real feel of what that joy meant that for that moment. It is not a one single person. There are two. They are my sisters. I go to them, and I very well know they will hear me. They'll be able to give me something completely different to the situation, to take it along and multiply that joy as well. And when there is something that I need a solution, I need a fix, they'll be readily available. I don't know where they get the knowledge from. It will be like they're younger to me and they'll just understand that moment, what I'm going through, though it won't be a completely different way it will affect the outcome or anything. But that is a moment, it will give such a clarity. The sisterhood, brotherhood, I'm hoping all of you would have experienced. Some of you may be a single child, but surely, like in our Indian context, all our cousins also we call brothers, sisters, right? You will have somebody. I really ask you to recollect such a person and remember at this point how you go to them. Thank you for such a wonderful topic, table topic master. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Lalita, for attempting the topic. Yes, I guess there are many people in our life that we can actually go to, but I guess there's always one special person and one special friend in our life that we can share anything, irrespective of not being a sibling in our life. Yeah, thank you for an interesting take. And Toastmaster Manasa, would you like to take the next topic? If you're talking, you're on mute.
Yes, Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi, yeah.
Sure, Manasa. Okay. Will you accept friends' flaws? Will you accept friends' flaws? Over to you.
Thank you for giving me this topic. Yeah, sure, definitely. I accept the friend flaw. They had to be very transparent and open. Yeah, they should not play behind. Yeah, in that case, if they are very open and transparent, telling the fact and the reality, right? Then in that case, I would definitely accept the friend flaws. And I also encourage they have to come forward and tell openly that what has happened. That's all from my side. Thank you.
So, thank you so much, Manasa, for that interesting take. That's very true. I guess, irrespective of the friend having flaws or not having flaws, I guess they're always your friends. So we always need to accept friends with whatever background and whatever is lacking in them. So first of all, before I hand it over to the Toastmaster of the day, thank you so much all the speakers who came forward and attempted the topic. But I was actually expecting more fun topics with respect to the theme of the day, which is Winnie the Pooh. And I thought it's like one of the fun-loving characters from the cartoon. But yeah, thank you so much once again. And thank you for the interesting takes on various topics about friendship, be it cartoons, or we actually heard a lot of discussions on cartoons, friendships, and all. Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you so much. And over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi. What a wonderful segment. What a wonderful TD segment. Can we have a round of applause for the lady, please? Am I the only one clapping? Can I see other claps, please? I mean, come on. Look at the background. You should clap even for the background. All right, moving ahead. I would like to ask the timer, do we have any disqualifications in the TT segment?
Yeah, one disqualification. Only time taken is 30 seconds.
Get it? The last speaker, right?
Toastmaster Mansa. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Hmm.
Okay, so I was just wondering, since many of you do not know what nonsense I'm blabbering about, who's this Pooh? What am I talking? What is Sree Lakshmi talking about? What cartoon? Life is not cartoon. We need to be serious. Okay, I'll just give you a bit of Pooh's life lessons so that with me, I guess I take one more fan of Pooh after this meeting. You know, if Pooh the bear would have been a living person and a Toastmaster, that little bear might just be one of the wisest Toastmaster we ever had. And trust me on this. So few of his life lessons which I would like to tell you so that you understand why we have chosen this theme. One of his famous saying is, "You're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think." Now, how many of you agree with this? Do you really think a cartoon character can come up with something so smart like this? Now, we are even living in the world of Simpsons, where all the predictions are coming true. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about this as well. Okay, he also used to say that people say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day. Well, this I thought it's directly related to me, because how can I do nothing every day and people are on the other hand saying nothing is impossible if you put your heart to it. Okay, just one more. Sometimes the smallest things take up most room in your heart. Have you ever wondered, somebody just said a thing very casually and you have taken it so seriously that it's lingering in your mind for quite some time and you're bothered, you're stressed, you're wondering about that person and that person has moved on. So that is what Pooh's teachings have taught us. So before we move to our table topic evaluator, I'll just give him a few quick minutes more. I just wanted to understand, I'll just do a quick activity with just what I've explained about Pooh and his quotes. You can answer which Pooh quote do you think you are. Let's play a quick guessing game. I'll read a quote and you guess which character said it and if you relate to that quote or not. Are you all in? Yes, no, maybe? I know Sree Lakshmi is in. I know Prasad is in. Now Prasad is like, really? You didn't even ask me. Okay, he's in. I'm counting Ilios too because he's always a very participative Toastmaster. Okay. All right. I'll just ask a few questions and okay. The most wonderful thing about me is me. Who do you think must have said it? Pooh, Tigger, or the donkey, or which character do you think must have said it? Okay, anyways, even if you don't know the character, do you relate to this line? Do you relate to this quote? By the way,
I think
Is it
Tiger.
Pooh?
yeah, it is. It is Tigger actually, Prasad. You are absolutely right. Why? Because I told you in the starting, he is over enthusiastic over things, and he's a very fun guy to be around, and he loves himself. You must have always heard about the Bollywood queen Kareena Kapoor Khan and her favorite dialogue, "I am my favorite." So even in cartoon world, Tigger is his favorite. And Toastmaster Prasad, 1 point for you. But do you relate to this point? Do you also agree that the most wonderful thing about you is you?
Most of the time, I'm not, yeah, most of the time I think I'm me itself, not other. But
Okay,
sometimes you see the others and thinking things that you also,
okay,
I also, yeah, I'm confused. Seriously.
okay, no worries. You know what? If you come to know from my mouth, the most wonderful thing about anyone is the person itself. Because think about it, if you do not exist, even if you do not exist, you will not be even able to tell what is wonderful or not wonderful. You exist, you have senses, and that is what it's beneficial. All right, the second one is, I am not lost, for I know where I am. But, however, where I am may be lost. Who do you think could have said this? Or who do you think out of you relate to this statement? That you're not lost because you know where you are, but you realize that where you are, the things may be lost. I'm just simplifying so that I get more people involving.
It's Pooh again.
It's Pooh only, yeah, because Pooh only can come up with these wise sayings. And what he actually means is that you, even if you do not know what's going to happen in and around, it's okay. Give things time. You are not lost because you know actually what is happening around. You will actually be lost when you don't know what is happening around. So you're still in your senses, and that's the best part. Find the silver lining. Okay, the last one, and I would expect somebody else to give a revert on this. Could be worse. Not sure how, but it could be. Sree Lakshmi, who do you think it could be?
Piglet?
No. Piglet is more of a animal who has good trust on itself. It is somebody who's not very sure. He's a gloomy character. It's Ior or Eeyore, the donkey, in case if you've forgotten the name. Okay, anyway, do you relate with this? Like, if any situation you're stuck and it could be worse, but I'm not sure how it could be. It could be more worse, but you're not sure how, if it can turn from worst to worst. Have you ever got stuck in such a situation?
Not really. I always try to find a way out. So
Oh, that's nice. Cool. All right. I guess Sunil is again and again peeping. I hope he's done with his table topic evaluation. If it is, can you just give me a thumbs up? All right, cool. So, do I even have to introduce him? You all know him. He is the life of uh, Gabbys International Toastmasters meeting. He is one of the best sergeant at arms one could ever have, and a club could ever have. And when I first, when I first saw Toastmaster Sunil in a meeting, in a Toastmaster meeting, I was like, oh my God, he's too. I mean, he's so direct. He's so friendly, and what a energy he brings to the club, and what a smile he keeps on. He will always have a smile on, no matter the situation is. And let me tell you one thing. However smiling a person might appear, there are still a lot of problems happening in and around, but you never know, because the infectious energy those people bring gets gets the club their life. Nothing more about Toastmaster Sunil. I am his friend since the time he has spoken a speech about constipation, and I am his friend since then. Over to you, Toastmaster Sunil, for your table topic evaluation. Please note timer. The timing for each evaluation is 30 seconds per speaker, and there are 6 speakers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yogita, for such a wonderful introduction. Okay. First speaker, Chandra Shiv. What makes friendship so special? I liked the way you immediately pointed out the essence of the friendship, mutual understanding, and you talked about friendship rules and the necessary things which required in a friendship. However, I missed that you talked about mutual understanding. So, what benefit you got, after following mutual understanding between your friends, your friendship? So, there should be an anecdote, a simple story that I gave my friend this thing and he gave me this, he helped me in another way. So that was the mutual understanding, and I was looking for that. Second speaker is Prasang Mani. How do you spread happiness, Prasang? I know that what came to your mind. You just started speaking on that. Office, when you go to office and you say hi or wish to your friends, you use that feeling, that kind of, you can say, spreading happiness. I love that, and it is the essence that what comes to your mind, you speak, just speak on that point. However, that to improve, I want you to start with a good introduction, strong introduction, like happiness. You have to use a statement about happiness that can hook the audience. Next speaker is Shivani Bhatia. Favorite cartoon and why? I loved your, you know, introduction. Rhetorical question. What comes to your mind when you talk about cartoons? So this is the way to start a speech. I loved your. But again, I missed which cartoon you were talking about. You like to watch. You used to watch. So you have to work upon that. What was being asked, and you have to answer. Otherwise, it was a wonderful speech. Next, DTM Harish Bilgi. Explain joy of simplicity. The main highlight of your speech was that examples, Mahatma Gandhi, Shashi Tharoor, Narayana Murthy, and you talked about Mahatma Gandhi's simplicity. But again, where is your simplicity? When you applied simplicity in your life, and what are the benefits? What are the advantages you got by following that simplicity? And a strong conclusion. Next, Lalita. Who is your who? You gave a thought-provoking insight. How we feel joy, when we feel joy, it was good. And you talked about that relationship, sisterhood, brotherhood, we feel joy. And you started your speech with good morning, good evening. I think that is not necessary. We have to start any kind of expression or gesture or statement to hook the audience. Eh, Saying good morning, good afternoon, that's a wastage of time, or 15 seconds or 20 seconds. Next, Mansa. Will you accept friends' flaws? You were good. I don't know why you stopped. You talked about, our friends should be open and transparent, and you have to just answer that, answer that, that friend's quality, open and transparent. That's enough. You started very well. I think it was your first speech. I think so. That's why you stopped. Okay. So all speakers did a very well job, and I would suggest two things as per my experience, that the first thing comes comes to your mind when you hear the topic. You start speaking on that. Don't randomly, run here and there. And another thing is that three things: point, simple example, and again point. That's enough. And when you see yellow card, no need to stretch your speech like Prasad Mani, stretched his speech. If you don't have any story and words, just conclude your speech on yellow card or before yellow card. No need to stretch that speech to the red card. That's enough. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunil Gupta, for that detailed evaluations. And yes, I agree. When we skip on basic points, we kind of lose the crux of the entire speech. And thank you for bringing that again to our notice. You did a great job. Can we have a round of applause for Toastmaster Sunil, please? Okay. Thank you. And now we are heading towards the end of the session. And I have realized that many of you are still not aware who Pooh is. I'll just give you a story, and maybe that can make you understand who Pooh is. So Pooh is a bear. We let's understand him as an animal only. Pooh is a bear. And this story is about Pooh and Piglet. And Piglet is a pig. Piglet. All right. So the story starts as one day Pooh woke up with a rumbly in his tumbly, as always, because Pooh is always hungry. That's one of his trait, as usual. But that day, he didn't head straight for the honey pot. Instead, he wandered over to Piglet's house. Now, Piglet is the pig, in case if you have just forgotten. Another reminder. He knocked gently, and Piglet opened the door, surprised to see his friend so early. "Are you okay, Pooh?" asked Piglet. Pooh nodded and said, "Yeah, I just thought I would come sit with you for a while." Now that man was puzzled. It's morning, and why is he coming here? But he didn't ask why. He made some tea, made some breakfast, set out two tiny chairs under the big oak tree, and they both sat quietly, not talking, just enjoying the serenity of the environment and their uh, camaraderie. They were just sitting with each other, no communication exchanged. After a while, Piglet again asked, "Pooh, is everything okay? Why did you really come?" Then he said, "I don't know. I just had a small feeling that you needed someone. And sometimes, when the world is big and confusing, it helps to have a friend to just sit beside you, even if they don't have to say anything." And in that moment, Piglet smiled. It felt lighter, not because anything changed, not because he was going through something, but because someone cared without needing a reason. And that is rare. Isn't this the kind of friendship we all want in our life? Someone who shows up, not with answers or solutions, but with the generic presence. That's the magic of being in a club like Toastmasters. We show up, we listen, and we grow together. And now I would like to hand over the stage back to the presiding officer. And I really thank you all for bringing so many honey-coated ideas, bouncy thoughts, and heartfelt reflections. I just want to say our club is full of characters, each with a unique voice and each adding magic to the moment. I'll launch the polls at the back end and I'll leave you with a reflection, with Pooh style reflection. A day without a friend is like a pot without a single drop of honey left inside. Thank you for all making today a Pooh-tastic meeting. Until we meet again, stay sweet and keep bouncing forward. Over to you, Toastmaster Jaspreet.
Thank you so very much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Yogita. A big round of applause for Toastmaster Yogita for creating this wonderful meeting for all of us, even if we were not, or some of us were not aware. A lot of information and light was shared upon this thing, upon the theme by her. And just to add on a little more about what she was saying, so this is one thing that again comes from Pooh, or the essence of Winnie the Pooh, that a friend is one of the nicest things you can have. A friend is one of the nicest things you can have and one of the best things you can be. I think that is what our Toastmaster spirit is all about. Be a friend when the other one needs and use a friend when you are in need. So on that note, I think that is what we keep on doing all the day, all the time in our meeting. So thank you very much, Toastmaster Yogita. And now a few guests, if they could very quickly give us the feedback on the meeting. Shivani, you've been there with us since the very beginning. A quick feedback about the entire meeting, because I think you visited us for the first time today. Shivani, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Actually, I was there, but in the middle of, actually, it's a dinner time. So I was cooking side by side. But thank you for having me, and thank you for making this platform available to everyone so that people from everywhere can join it. Today morning only, I was searching if we have some online meeting happening, and I got to know about it. So that's a wonderful initiative that you are taking so that people across the world, they can join. And you talked, the theme of the day was very interesting, though I'm not much aware of it. But when you mentioned about Tom and Jerry, then it took me back to the memory lane. Okay, yes, Tom and Jerry I used to watch, but in the heat of the moment, you don't realize, okay, yeah. But it was very engaging session, especially the educational session. See, sometimes we know about the things, but, repetition is important. So it helps you. It gave me, yesterday I was thinking about something, and today I got the not feedback, but I got so much from that educational session. So that was very, very helpful. And thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to joining you again.
Thank you so much, Shivani. And we are also looking forward to having you in our next meeting as well. And Pallavi, a quick feedback from you, please.
As they shared, I love the education sector session, and I also loved the table topic evaluation part. I loved how he said he gave the very finer pointers that will help me to improve my skin. Although I didn't participated in the table topic, but I got feedback. I also have habit of saying good morning, good evening before table topic, and it's so I got, yeah, this is and how he encouraged the Mansa who was who didn't speak for 1 minute to how he can elaborate the topic. So there was so much learning from the educational part and also evaluation part. I love how beautifully Lakshmi ji took the topic, and when nobody was able to take the cartoon character, how beautifully she transfer another topic. And finally, I love Yogita, Toastmaster Yogita's part, how he closed her topic by saying honey coated messages, and the way she concluded. So there was so much learning for me, and I always love to be the part of Gabby's club and look forward Gabby's sessions. Thank you so much for letting me speak. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pallavi, for giving such a detailed feedback. That's really, and the ones whom you've spoken about, you've made their day, I'm sure. So we can also already see so many hearts floating around. So thank you very much, Pallavi, for that. Now, moving on to our typical part of the meeting, one very important part, which is the woes and the vows. Now, the happy part is that we are reducing on the woes part of it. and our vows are increasing. But still, when we say we are a work in progress, so there has to be a vow so that we keep on working, fine-tuning ourselves. So one thing is there that the cameras are still remaining off during the educational session, during the meeting. So we understand, having the camera on for 2 hours might be a little bit difficult because you may be doing certain other things along with it. Even if the camera is on, make your presence felt so that the educational speaker doesn't feel put off. We need to give motivation to the person who's here, who's come all the way for the session. So just make your presence felt with your emojis or maybe connecting through audio, unmuting yourself, even if the camera is off due to a reason. And one more thing, which is it has already been hinted a bit that people did not know about the theme, which was surprising. The theme, Winnie the Pooh, is not something very much out of the world, but people did not know. So that's a woe. But then how can we work on that woe is what I was thinking. Now, for any meeting for that matter, the poster is out and we are about to join. Why not, if we are not aware about the theme, just Google it a little bit so that we have the information before we join. That will make the meeting really very interesting, and the efforts of the table topic master, the Toastmaster of the day, it would be multiplied. So this I think we can do even when we've joined. Just open Google and then so many things we can come to know about it. So that can be done. So that woe can be converted to a vow very soon. All right, now the vows. So first of all, the Toastmaster of the day brought a very, very different theme. And it was good. It was good. It well connected with the educational session also. So kudos to you for that. And then you sailed and navigated through the entire meeting, even when people were not aware. That was the best part. And same is what the table topic master did. She had her own set of topics prepared according to the theme, but very, very quickly and smoothly, she switched over to the other topics when people were not able to answer. And somewhere I could see she is feeling that people should have known. She ended by saying it could have been more interesting. And actually, it would have been more interesting if we would have seen stories coming up according to the topics. And table topic master, great topics. And the best part was so much involvement that you change the background. At that point of time, I was wishing why not everybody should have had that background. Beautiful meeting it would have turned up to be. But yes, your attempts were great. They were wonderful. And the timer, good job done. I think last time when you were the timer, I said that something better can be done. It can be a more fine-tuned kind of a role. So you did a very good job. Congratulations for that, timer, Prasad. And the TTE, already a lot has been spoken. So yes, Toastmaster Sunil, there were many things that you pointed out, which were the finer points, which could have skipped anyone's eyes, and especially on a day like this, when immediately after the table topic, that to a marathon, you have to come up with the evaluation. So you were able to do justice. Just one small thing I would like to add over there, that because towards the end you were giving general comments for everybody because they were common for everyone. So one thing that we do is we avoid naming the person. When we are giving a recommendation, we do not name. When we are giving a commendation, we name. But that is one thing you need to take care of. Otherwise, it was a session very well conducted. The way you gave the points, it was wonderfully done. So really great and glad to be here to talk about this because yes, we are evolving. And that is what is required at the end of the day and at the end of the meeting as well. So with this, I think we are ready with the results. Are we?
Yes, I have shared it in the Zoom chat.
Okay. Why can't I see it? Have you shared with me, Yogita? I've not received.
I have shared with you. Do I share it again?
Yeah, I've not received it.
I'll just reshare it. Please check.
Just a minute. Actually, I've logged in from. Okay.
I'll share it on WhatsApp.
No, fine. It's there now. Actually, I've logged in from 2 different devices due to the network problem. So it's there. All right. Now, so there's a tie in the TT speakers. Yes? All right. Fine. So the best table topic speakers, without making you guess, there's a tie over there. Shivani Bhatia and DTM Harish. A big round of applause for both of them. So Shivani has, I think, already left. So she came here for the first time, but then she made a mark with that. Favorite auxiliary player is again our timer, Toastmaster Prasad, and a big round of applause, Toastmaster Prasad, because timing is one aspect that keeps the meeting on track. We've gone 4 minutes ahead, but that's fine. With such a theme, it can happen. And the main role taker, the best is, yes, who brought Winnie the Pooh into the meeting, the Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Yogita Upadhyay. Congratulations for that. Now, if you want to take that winning selfie, put yourself on the Zoom spotlight and the others, and please go ahead and do that. And let us know when it is done. Done? All right. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here, and looking forward to having you in our next meeting, which happens on Saturday at 10 a.m. in the morning, 10 a.m. IST. So with this, we close today's meeting. Have a great day, a great time, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.